I've told him he's not giving me enough. He's told me, okay, I can give you more.
Yeah.
As long as we're The reason why I've never really outed him is because I don't want to take 2 steps back. I kind of want to move forward from this shit.
2 steps back on what?
Like this co-parenting. Like he's whack as it.
Him giving you money to you. Does she know this?
I've never told a soul. Nobody knows about this. But
few events in Atlanta's hectic, high-drama world of love and hip-hop are as intensely personal and agonizing as the breakup of Rashida and Kirk Frost's relationship. The couple, whose bond had been put to the test innumerable times before, were on the verge of an emotional meltdown when Jasmine Washington, a woman from Kirk's past, dropped a bombshell that would alter their lives for years to come. Despite the allegations, public scandals, and Kirk's previous transgressions, Rashida and Kirk had to navigate the demands of fame, family, and business together. Rashida had always attempted to maintain her composure, stood by Kirk's side through his mistakes, offering forgiveness where many others might have turned away. But this time it was different. The betrayal was deeper, more intimate, and it rocked Rashida to her core. It all came to a head one fateful evening when Jasmine, fed up with hiding things, decided to reveal the truth about the affair that had been buried in whispers and half-truths. Not only did the affair break Rashida's heart, but what happened after Jasmine revealed new information regarding her marriage? The revelation was straightforward yet terrible. Jasmine was more than simply a lady from Kirk's past. She remained in his life long after their brief romance was over, and it went beyond a few infrequent phone conversations or check-ins. When Jasmine related her story, Kirk continued to massage her after their affair, which was an act of intimacy Rashida could never have comprehended. Kirk had been visiting Jasmine on a regular basis and spending time with her in ways Rashida could never have imagined. Rashida's world started to fall apart, and it wasn't only because Kirk and Jasmine physically betrayed her. It was about Kirk's continued relationship with her. The massages weren't just a casual thing. They were intimate moments in which Kirk held and touched Jasmine in a way that no wife could ignore. In Rashida's mind, they weren't just friends or casual acquaintances. Rather, they were a bond that seemed to go beyond the confines of their past affair. Speaking with a mix of hurt and defiance, Jasmine didn't hold back as she described the late hours she spent with Kirk and how, after the alleged end of the affair, he continued to contact her. She didn't sugarcoat the details, describing how Kirk would still. As Rashida listened to Jasmine's words, tears started to well up in her eyes. The woman who had been the foundation of their family and who had always trusted Kirk felt as though her entire world had fallen apart. It wasn't just the affair that hurt. It was the fact that Kirk had continued to foster this relationship with Jasmine long after the affair had supposedly ended. It wasn't just a brief moment of weakness. It was an ongoing betrayal. Kirk would touch her, comfort her, and interact with her in ways that were intended for no one else. Rashida attempted to maintain her composure, but the dam broke. Her hands trembled as she wiped away her tears, and she struggled to catch her breath. She had always been the strong one, the one who kept everything together. But in this moment, she was completely broken. Her husband, the man she had supported, loved, and forgiven so many times, had crossed a line from which she was unable to recover. As the realization dawned on her, her mind raced with questions about how Kirk could have done this to her and how he could have kept this secret knowing how much she trusted him. Life with him juggling her job, her family, and their marriage. She had always believed in their love, even when everyone else doubted it. But now she had to face the fact that Kirk had been physically and emotionally involved with another woman in a way that felt like a betrayal of everything she had believed in. Rashida's pain was obvious. She wasn't just crying over the affair. She was also grieving the loss of the trust that had served as the cornerstone of her marriage. She was the one who had stood by Kirk, the one who had stood by him, who had sacrificed everything for their family and now had to pick up the pieces of a broken reality as she broke down. Rashida found it difficult to articulate how deeply hurt she was and how she could possibly comprehend why Kirk had persisted in pursuing Jasmine despite everything they had been through. The messages, the late-night visits, the ongoing connection, it was all too much. The fact that Kirk had permitted this to occur and had continued to engage in the intimacy of another woman made Rashida feel invisible, and all of her sacrifices and love had seemed to have been in vain. For the first time in years, viewers watched as Rashida broke down under the weight of the truth, her cries resonating through the room. He stood silently on the sidelines and eventually spoke up, but his words did little to comfort her. He tried to explain and defend his actions, but the damage was already done. The truth was clear: Rashida had been duped, and there was no quick fix for the pain she felt. The trust that had once defined their relationship had been eroded piece by his actions. As the episode came to an end, she felt vulnerable, bewildered, and crushed by the man she believed she could trust the most. After everything that had transpired, Rashida was left to pick up the pieces of her broken heart. She had to face not only the truth of Kirk's betrayal, but also the agonizing question of whether she could ever forgive him. Was this the last straw for Rashida? The path ahead was unclear, but one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again. Kirk's ongoing relationship with Jasmine caused her anguish, which was too great to be healed overnight, and as she left the altercation, in the chaotic high-drama world of love and hip-hop Atlanta, few moments are as deeply personal and painful as the unraveling of Rashida and Kirk Frost's relationship. The couple, whose bond had been tested countless times in the past, found themselves on the verge of an emotional explosion when Jasmine Washington, a woman from Kirk's family, crossed a line that could never be undone. Viewers knew that Rashida's journey would be a long, difficult one filled with questions and a search for answers that might never come in the end. For years, Rashida and Kirk had navigated the demands of fame, family, and business together. Despite the whispers, public scandals, and Kirk's previous transgressions, until the past delivered a bombshell that would forever alter their lives. Rashida had always made an effort to keep things together and had supported Kirk through his mistakes, offering forgiveness where many others might have turned away. However, this time the betrayal was more profound and personal, and it rocked Rashida to her very core. It all came to an end one fateful evening when Jasmine, fed up with hiding the truth about the affair that had, half-truths and whispers would no longer be kept secret. But it wasn't just the affair that would shatter Rashida's heart. It was also what happened after Jasmine revealed information that shocked everything Rashida believed she knew about her marriage. The revelation was straightforward but devastating. Jasmine was more than just a lady from Kirk's past. She was someone who remained in his life even after their brief relationship ended. It wasn't just a few infrequent phone conversations or check-ins. Kirk had been seeing Jasmine on a regular basis and spent time with her in ways that, as Jasmine related her experience, the most startling aspect was that Kirk had continued to massage her following their affair, an act of intimacy Rashida could never have comprehended. Rashida's world started to fall apart, and it wasn't just about Kirk and Jasmine's physical betrayal. It was also about the ongoing bond that Kirk had maintained with her. The massages weren't just a casual thing. They were intimate moments in which Kirk held and touched Jasmine in a way that no wife could ignore. They weren't just friends. They weren't just casual acquaintances. And in Rashida's mind, they were a bond that appeared to go beyond the parameters of their prior affair. Speaking with a mix of hurt and defiance, Jasmine didn't hold back as she talked about the late nights she spent with Kirk and how he continued to reach out to her even after the alleged affair was over. She didn't sugarcoat the details, describing how Kirk would still touch her, console her, and interact with her in ways that were only intended for them. She even mentioned how Kirk would visit her home just to have fun and get away from his complex life with Rashida.